Hey everyone, welcome to Broken Lord Order. Today we're going to be taking a look at Skink Campaign Agents by Ubermorgen. This adds in 3 different heroes for all Lizardmen factions, and we'll take a look at it in a deep dive in a sec. But in the meantime, kick back, grab a drink, and let's get into it.
Wow.
So I said in the intro that this adds in 3 heroes for the Lizardmen, and I've already lied to you because one of those 3 is actually a lord, not a hero. We'll take a look at them first, and that's the Skink Mage Priest. So they're kind of like, a Skink Priest, but on steroids, right? They can be taken as an army leader. They're pretty weak in combat. However, you can throw them onto things like Stegodons and Ancient Stegodons, which takes them from being somewhat lackluster in combat to being pretty dang good in combat as a result of the dinosaur underneath them. They are, of course, caster lords, so you've got access to the same, schools of magic you would have for their hero versions, everything like that. They're kind of the least interesting of the 3 in my eyes, but that's the first of the 3. The second one of these heroes might at first blush kind of look like a reskin, but they're actually quite a bit more interesting than that, and that is the Chameleon Skink Assassin. So they kind of look and act like a skink chief when they first start out. The difference being is that they don't have access to any mounts, whereas the skink chief will eventually end up being like a vaguely artillery-ish platform that has a dinosaur underneath them. The chameleon skink assassin will always just be a little tiny itty bitty skink. And so you might wonder why in the hell you'd even bring them at that point in time. And the answer is because they can be an absolute nightmare to deal with if you use them correctly. Being a small stealthed entity, you can pretty much sneak them right up onto target and then start causing anarchy. Their ranged attacks have poison on them, which can utterly screw the enemy's defensive abilities up. They're quick, they have a 360-degree firing arc. They're kind of they're fun to use. They're definitely a scalpel tool. They're definitely not a sledgehammer, but when you use them correctly, man, you feel like an absolute genius. So the last of these 3, and by far the most interesting of them, in fact, they're actually one of the most interesting heroes in the entire game, in my opinion, is the Skink Scribe. They are not particularly good at, assassinations or wounding or anything like that. They are fundamentally weak in combat. They're one of the weakest heroes in the entire game there, but they are by far the most interesting to use. The Skink Scribes can be made to increase your diplomacy options. They can be used to increase your unit production. They can help out with building things and whatnot. And at first, they're super limited in how many of them you can field, so it's kind of difficult. And on top of that, too, by picking one of those 3 specializations, you automatically block off the other 2. So you might think, well, I mean, Jesus, they sound terrible. But again, just like the Chameleon Skink Assassin, all of their tricks are really well hidden behind their sleeves. So not only can they become extremely good at those roles, like easily the best hero in the game at boosting those things, but when you make it all the way down to the end of that particular chain, it gives you one more capacity for another Skink Scribe. So basically, once you've got them fully maxed out, you can pump out another one and repeat that process all over with another one. On top of that too, and I love that they did this, they are also able to take the same mounts that we said earlier, which takes them from being one of the weakest guys in the game to being a monster that's still fairly weak. Like if you throw him into combat alone, you're gonna get him killed, but you can chuck down a net quickly to screw up the enemy formations. You can smash them all to pieces with the Stegodon before retreating. Like they're really fun to use in this sense. They are, again, one of the most fun heroes in the entire game, and if you're going to get the mod for any one thing in particular, it is overwhelmingly going to be this guy. Alright, so conclusion time then. Should you get Skink Campaign Agents? Absolutely. This might sound like a pretty small mod, and I get that, but this is the kind of modding that makes me incredibly thrilled to see what the modding community comes up with. This is incredibly unique. Nothing plays like these 3 units. On top of that too, the balance of this is also incredibly good. Like, this is not going to make it easy for you as a beastman. It's not going to make the beastman frustrating to play against. Like, this is the kind of mod where You toss this in, and this will never come back out of your load order again. Wholeheartedly recommend this. Alright, so that's going to wrap it up for this particular video. Next on the agenda, we're going to take a look at a mod that goes a long ways towards fixing the various issues with the Wood Elf, so stay tuned for that. As always, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. See ya!